What if the chaos in your life wasn't just coincidence? What if the shadows you ignore, the cluttered corners, the broken keepsakes, the whispers in the silence, held more power than you ever imagined? Clara's life was unraveling before her eyes, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something more sinister was lurking in the mess. Was her suffering merely bad luck, or was there a deeper force feeding on her despair? When Clara meets Evelyn Sen, a mysterious woman with unsettling insights, Clara learns a chilling truth. Sometimes what haunts you isn't just in your mind, it's in the very space around you. But what was haunting Clara's home, and why did it seem to grow stronger with each passing night? Clara Rivers had always been ambitious, driven by dreams of success in a field she loved. But recently, nothing seemed to go right. Clients backed out, her health declined, and a suffocating weight pressed down on her every day. As the whispers in her apartment grew louder, Clara felt trapped in an invisible grip, her thoughts clouded by doubt and fear. Could Evelyn's cryptic words hold the key to breaking free? Or was Clara's entire reality about to unravel as she faced the chilling echoes hiding within her walls? Clara often wondered, why does misfortune cling to me like a shadow? She had done everything right, or so she thought. Yet, whispers in her cluttered apartment only grew louder, mingling with her thoughts and doubts. The bills piled up and the projects fell apart. Was this just life being unfair, or was something feeding on her despair? Clara felt an uneasy presence in every corner, like a cold breath on her neck, watching her struggle. But who, or what, was it? Evelyn Sen's words echoed, "Your home is a mirror of your mind." Clara brushed off the notion at first. How could scattered papers and dusty memories affect her fate? The mentor's voice lingered in Clara's head, weaving curiosity with skepticism. Is there truly a connection between space and spirit? Each night, the whispering intensified, and shadows lengthened in her small studio apartment. She began to question if her suffering had a deeper source, one hiding within her neglected walls. The nights brought Clara no relief. She would wake with the unsettling sense of being observed. She avoided mirrors, fearing they might reflect more than just her worn-out face. What is it about darkness that awakens our deepest fears? Clara's old friend Lena suggested therapy, or even a vacation, but Clara couldn't escape the feeling that this was a problem rooted in her space. Something seemed tethered to the objects she couldn't let go of, relics of her past failures. One afternoon, Clara found an old card Lena had given her, Evelyn Sen's contact. Clara felt ridiculous dialing the number, but what did she have to lose? When Evelyn arrived, the air felt heavier. The elderly woman didn't need to say much. Her eyes wandered the apartment, absorbing its weight. "There's a blockage here, Clara," Evelyn whispered, her voice firm yet gentle. Clara felt a chill. Had Evelyn seen something? Evelyn leaned closer, saying softly, "It's not just clutter, there are echoes here." That night, Clara could barely sleep. Evelyn's words haunted her thoughts, replaying like a broken record. Echoes? What echoes? Clara felt on edge, her own curiosity mingling with fear. Evelyn had left her with a single instruction: begin with intention. Clara sat in the dim light, her mind racing. What if Evelyn is right? What if clearing this space could clear my life? Clara glanced at the piles of papers and broken frames around her. She realized this was more than just mess, it was a haunting. When Evelyn entered Clara's apartment, the air seemed to hold its breath. The old woman observed every detail, each crack in the walls and every object collecting dust. Clara could feel her tension rising, every flaw and disorganization amplified in Evelyn's silent scrutiny. Evelyn finally spoke. "Everything holds energy, Clara. Clutter traps old vibrations." Clara felt a mix of curiosity and defensiveness. How could something so mundane have such power over her life? But Evelyn's steady gaze seemed to penetrate that doubt. "Tell me," Evelyn said, settling into an old chair, "what are you holding on to?" Clara hesitated. She wanted to laugh at the absurdity of the question, but felt her voice falter. How could she explain that everything she clung to held memories of past hopes and failures? Evelyn's expression didn't shift, almost as if she already knew the answer. "You're not just living with clutter," Evelyn continued. "You're living with echoes of the past." Clara felt a chill, as if Evelyn could see into her soul. Evelyn's teachings were simple, yet profound. She instructed Clara to let go of anything broken, anything she couldn't fix. "Renewal begins with letting go," she said. The old woman's voice carried a certainty that Clara craved, but doubt lingered. Clara questioned, "Is it really that simple? Can releasing objects change my fate?" Evelyn smiled knowingly, as if hearing Clara's unspoken thoughts. "Every time you hold on to something broken, you reinforce a belief that you're not worthy of more," Evelyn explained. As Clara hesitated to let go of a broken picture frame, Evelyn's words hung in the air like a warning. By holding on to these fragments, you are inviting them to stay, Evelyn said. Clara's hands trembled. Was this true? Could her memories be chains? Clara finally placed the frame in the discard pile, feeling a pang of guilt and relief. The echo is strong here, Evelyn whispered, breaking the silence. Clara's heart raced. The air seemed to thicken, as if something was indeed watching. Clara wasn't sure what she believed, but Evelyn's words triggered a subtle shift. Clara could feel it, a quiet, almost imperceptible loosening of the weight pressing on her chest. This is only the beginning, Evelyn said, her voice gentle but resolute. Clara felt a spark of hope amid her fear. Could this really work? As Evelyn left, Clara stared at her cluttered apartment, visualizing each piece as a thread tied to her past. Clara knew one thing. She couldn't let those threads bind her any longer. The first time Clara tried Evelyn's ritual, she felt ridiculous. How can cleaning be anything more than an everyday chore? She wondered, skepticism clinging like dust. Yet, something about Evelyn's calmness and confidence made Clara curious enough to try. Evelyn's voice echoed in her mind. Set an intention. Clara took a deep breath and visualized the heaviness leaving her home. She picked up a stack of old sketchbooks, feeling the weight of each abandoned dream. What if letting go could make space for something new? Start small, Evelyn had advised, with what you can control. Clara began in a corner of her apartment that she rarely noticed. Dust and cobwebs had settled there like old memories. She swept slowly, each motion deliberate, visualizing negative energy leaving with each stroke. Could cleaning really renew my life? She questioned herself, doubt swirling. But as the dirt vanished, she felt something unexpected, a sense of lightness. Clara repeated to herself, I am clearing away what no longer serves me. As Clara continued, Evelyn's lessons became clearer. Cleaning isn't just physical, it's a ritual of intention, Evelyn had explained. Clara was beginning to understand. With each discarded item and cleared surface, the air seemed to shift subtly. Clara felt a strange clarity emerging from the chaos. She started feeling connected to each action, visualizing not just a cleaner home, but a clearer mind. But with each step forward, Clara could sense something watching her efforts, as if testing her resolve. One evening, Clara found herself standing in front of a broken lamp, a relic from a failed relationship. She had kept it out of some misplaced sentimentality, or perhaps out of fear of letting go. If you cling to broken things, you cling to broken beliefs, Evelyn's words echoed. Clara hesitated, holding on to the object, her knuckles white. Is this what's been holding me back? She thought, her breath catching. Clara closed her eyes and imagined releasing not just the lamp, but the pain tied to it. When the lamp finally hit the discard pile, Clara felt a rush of relief, tinged with uncertainty. What if this is only the beginning? She whispered to herself, her voice trembling. She wasn't just discarding objects, she was confronting her past and her fears. But as she continued cleaning, something else began to stir. A whisper in the silence, a lingering presence that seemed to taunt her resolve. Clara could feel the echo growing restless, its grip loosening yet fighting to hold on. Just as Clara began to gain confidence, Roy arrived unannounced. His presence felt like a storm brewing in the calm Clara had begun to create. Roy's voice was filled with casual dismissal. You're really listening to that old woman? This is just junk. Don't make a big deal out of it. Clara felt her blood boil, but his words struck a chord of doubt. What if he's right, she thought, the weight of her fear returning. The shadows in her apartment seemed to darken, echoing her insecurities. Roy's visit left Clara shaken, her progress feeling fragile and temporary. That night, Clara faced the room she had refused to touch. A room full of relics from her most painful memories. Am I strong enough for this? She asked herself, hesitating at the door. She couldn't escape the feeling that something awaited her on the other side. The air was thick with tension, and every creak in the floorboards amplified her unease. Clara's hands trembled as she gripped the doorknob, heart pounding. When Clara finally opened the door, the room felt like a tomb. Still, heavy, suffocating. She could barely breathe as the memories rushed back. A failed relationship, broken friendships, lost ambitions. Clara closed her eyes and heard Evelyn's voice in her mind. Release what weighs you down. But the shadows seemed to close in, whispering doubts and regrets. Is this what it feels like to confront your demons? She wondered, her fear turning to anger. Clara grabbed the nearest broken object, her pulse racing. As Clara began to clear the room, a powerful wave of emotions crashed over her. Grief, anger, regret. Each item she discarded felt like letting go of a piece of herself. Is this worth it? She thought, feeling the weight of every decision. She heard the echo louder than ever, almost mocking her efforts. Clara's vision blurred with tears, but she pressed on, determined to finish what she started. She felt as if she were wrestling with an invisible force, fighting for her future. By the end, Clara stood amidst the discarded remains of her past, her breath shallow and hands shaking. She had done it. She had faced the darkest parts of her soul and survived. But in the silence that followed, Clara couldn't shake the feeling that something lingered, watching. "Have I truly let go?" she whispered, unsure if the room felt lighter or if it was just exhaustion. Clara knew this battle wasn't over. The shadows had receded, but the echo wasn't gone. Not yet. Clara stood at the threshold of her past, the discarded room now empty but heavy with memories. Evelyn had warned her that this journey wouldn't just be physical, but deeply spiritual. How do you fight something you can't see? Clara thought, her heart pounding. The shadows in the room seemed to shift, almost like they were breathing. Clara felt the echo's presence stronger than ever, a force clinging to her doubts. Was it real or just a manifestation of her fears? Clara couldn't tell. Evelyn arrived, sensing Clara's distress. She offered no comforting words, only guidance. "You must face the echo," Evelyn said, her tone unwavering. "It's not just the shadows, it's every fear you haven't let go of." Clara's throat tightened, fear threatening to paralyze her. But Evelyn's eyes held a steady resolve, reflecting the courage Clara needed to find within herself. What if this is the final test? Clara wondered. Evelyn handed her a small candle, saying, "Light this with intention. Shadows flee from light." The ritual began. Clara stood in the center of the room, holding the flickering candle. The silence was deafening, punctuated only by Clara's shallow breaths. Evelyn instructed her to visualize the light expanding, pushing out the darkness. Clara tried, but the shadows seemed to resist, swirling angrily. The whispers in her mind grew louder, almost overpowering. What if this is a mistake? Clara's doubts threatened to consume her, but Evelyn's voice cut through. "Don't run from it. Confront it." Clara steadied herself, focusing on the flame. She closed her eyes and let the emotions flood in. Grief, regret, guilt. Every negative thought she had ever held seemed to rush forward, trying to drown her. Clara's mind screamed, "Is this where it ends?" But something shifted. Clara felt a surge of defiance rise within her. She opened her eyes, staring into the darkest corner of the room, where the echo seemed strongest. "You're not real," she whispered, her voice trembling but firm. "You don't control me." In that moment, Clara felt a profound release. The shadows seemed to recoil, retreating from the candle's light. Clara exhaled a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. The room felt lighter, the air clearer. Evelyn nodded approvingly, whispering, "Well done." But Clara wasn't sure what had just happened. Had she defeated something real? Or just her own fear? Does it even matter? She wondered. For the first time in months, Clara felt a small spark of hope, like the dawn breaking after a long night. The transformation was subtle at first, a cleaner room, a clearer mind. Clara still felt traces of doubt, but something had undeniably shifted. The echo's whispers no longer haunted her sleep, and her nightmares began to fade. Is it really this simple? Clara pondered as she opened her windows wide, letting in the morning light. She felt the fresh air fill the space, chasing away the stale heaviness. Clara realized that she wasn't just clearing her apartment. She was clearing her life. Days turned into weeks, and Clara's routine began to change. She dedicated mornings to small rituals Evelyn had taught her: intentional cleaning, mindful discarding, and meditation. She found herself connecting more deeply to these practices. How can something so simple create such profound change? She often reflected. But simplicity, Clara learned, was the point. The weight of her old life seemed to lift, revealing new opportunities and inspirations. Clients returned, and Clara's work flowed effortlessly. Clara felt compelled to reconnect with Lena. She invited her friend over, anxious about their strained friendship. When Lena arrived, she was stunned by Clara's transformed space. "Wow, it's like a completely different place," Lena remarked, her tone a mix of surprise and relief. Clara smiled, feeling a warmth she hadn't felt in a long time. They sat down and talked for hours, clearing the air between them. Could my space have affected more than just me? Clara wondered, marveling at the power of her renewed environment. Evelyn visited Clara one last time, surveying the apartment with a satisfied smile. "You've come a long way," Evelyn said, her voice gentle but proud. Clara felt a deep sense of gratitude. How can a simple shift in perspective change so much? She thought, reflecting on her journey. Evelyn offered a final piece of advice. Remember, it's not just about keeping your space clear, it's about keeping your mind clear. Clara understood now. The echo had been a reflection of her own chaos, a reminder to stay vigilant in her self-care. As Evelyn left, Clara stood in her transformed apartment. A sense of peace settling over her. She looked around, realizing the space felt alive, full of light, energy, and potential. Could this be the start of something new? She thought, excitement stirring in her chest. Clara opened her windows again, letting in a fresh breeze. She closed her eyes, whispering a quiet affirmation. I am open to all the good that life has to offer. And for the first time, she truly believed it. Clara's new life seemed to unfold naturally, almost effortlessly. Her projects flourished, and her apartment felt like a sanctuary. But there was a quiet fear lingering in the back of her mind. What if it all falls apart again? Clara had faced the echo. But shadows can return, doubts can resurface. Clara often reflected on Evelyn's parting words. Prosperity is born from a clear mind, not just a clean space. How do you keep your mind clear in a chaotic world? She wondered. Determined to stay on her path, Clara made a commitment to herself. Weekly rituals to renew her energy and keep her environment aligned with her intentions. It wasn't just about sweeping floors or discarding broken items, it was about cultivating gratitude and presence. How can a simple act become a sacred ritual? Clara pondered as she swept, visualizing her fears and doubts being swept away. Each action held intention, each movement grounded her in the present moment. One morning, as Clara opened her windows, a soft breeze carried the scent of fresh rain. She stood there, breathing it in, feeling an inexplicable connection to the world around her. Have I always missed this? She thought, realizing how disconnected she had been from simple joys. Clara felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude, not just for her renewed space, but for the clarity it had given her. She whispered a quiet prayer of thanks, feeling her heart lighten. Clara's friendships also began to thrive. She reconnected with old friends, apologized where needed, and embraced her relationships with a newfound openness. Lena noticed the change. You seem different, Lena remarked one day, her voice laced with curiosity. Clara smiled, a knowing smile. How do you explain an internal shift to someone else? She wondered, deciding that some transformations can't be put into words. Lena simply said, I'm glad you found your way, and that was enough. As Clara continued to build her new life, she noticed something profound. The echo was gone. The whispers that once haunted her had faded completely. Clara's journey had taught her that darkness isn't something you defeat. It's something you learn to walk through with courage and clarity. She felt a deep, abiding sense of peace and a readiness to embrace whatever came next. What lies ahead? Clara thought, not with fear, but with quiet anticipation. For the first time, the future felt full of possibilities. Now that you've followed Clara's journey, ask yourself, what area of your life feels cluttered or stuck? And what's one step you could take today to clear that energy? Share your answer in the comments and let us know what you're ready to let go of to welcome new possibilities. If Clara's transformation resonated with you, remember to like this video and subscribe for more inspiring stories and insights. Your journey to clarity and abundance starts now.